On the surface, it looks like Apple is having a pretty good year. After all, it did become the world's most valuable publicly traded company. But behind the scenes, its long-standing disputes with app developers are bubbling over into public view.
Apple is facing stiff backlash over the way it runs the App Store at a time when the App Store is a key part of its business.
Cue the Fortnite gaming controversy. Over the summer, Epic Games publicly rebelled against the App Store's 30% fees and urged players to join its fight against Apple.
Ladies and gentlemen, Apple just banned Fortnite. What?
It's going down. Apple versus Fortnite.
They're probably the one company out there right now that is so beloved by the public that they'll be able to at least, put up the best fight.
It's not just Epic Games. Spotify, Airbnb, Tinder, Facebook, and Netflix have all had disputes with Apple over App Store rules, all while lawmakers are scrutinizing Apple and other tech companies for potential antitrust violations.
What's to stop Apple from increasing its commission to 50%?
We have never increased commissions in the store since the first day it operated in 2008.
So, what are app makers asking for? And is Apple going to listen? First, it's important to understand how crucial the App Store has become to Apple's business. In recent years, Apple's been shifting its focus from selling more devices like iPhones to selling more software and services. Think Apple Music, Apple Care, and of course, the App Store.
Apple One gives you and your family all the services you love in one simple plan.
In 2020, its services business, which includes the App Store, helped the company set a new sales record in the June quarter. Apple doesn't break out its App Store revenue, but analysts estimate it brought in roughly $17.5 billion for fiscal year 2020. Some apps and services are particularly important for the App Store ecosystem, like Fortnite. The game has more than 100 million registered users on Apple devices. That's produced more than $1 billion in global App Store spending since its launch in 2018. But in August, Fortnite was kicked off the App Store altogether. That's because the game's creator, Epic Games, set up a system to get money directly from players without paying Apple its cut. Apple takes a 30% commission on sales of apps and in-app purchases. So if an app costs $4.99 up front, Apple collects $1.50, while the app creator gets the rest. Same goes for if you use an app to buy digital goods, like virtual weapons, or sign up for a subscription to a monthly service. But the fee doesn't apply to physical goods and services, like clothing purchases or home rentals.
What Epic Games did was it tried to skirt that commission by adding its own payment system to the Fortnite app on iPhones and iPads. That goes against Apple's rules. Apple pulled Fortnite from the App Store, Epic sued Apple, and then Apple filed a countersuit.
Google pulled Fortnite from Google Play in August for the same reason. And since the two companies banned the app, their monthly revenue from the game has taken a big hit.
From a developer perspective, it definitely feels like we're forced to pay 30% right off the top.
Austin Benson developed an app for Apple and Android called Hang that helped organize meetups, and he's currently a CTO at a small tech startup.
It literally feels like a tax, and those dollars don't really go towards a government to pay roads and bridges. They go to pay two of the biggest and arguably most powerful corporations in the world.
In late September, Spotify, the owner of Tinder, and Epic Games teamed up to pressure Apple and other App Store operators to change their rules. Apple and Google have defended their business practices, saying the commission fees are necessary because of the services the stores provide, including security and safeguarding user privacy. In some cases, the battle over App Store fees has also spilled over into accusations of Apple allegedly stifling competition. Enter Spotify's fight with Apple. In 2019, Spotify filed a formal complaint to the EU, accusing Apple of making it difficult for rivals of Apple Music to promote their subscription services without using Apple's payment system. Apple takes a 30% cut on subscriptions for the first year and 15% the second year.
If you were to upgrade to premium in our app through the App Store, we'd have to give Apple a whopping 30% of your subscription fee.
Spotify didn't want to pay that fee on its premium subscription revenue, so it removed the option to sign up from within the app. Users can still register on Spotify's website, but Apple's rules don't allow Spotify to direct users from the app to its site. Netflix has taken a similar approach, telling users you can't sign up for Netflix in the app, and Tinder charges members more to sign up in the app compared to its website. Apple said that developers are free to promote other pricing outside of the App Store, including on television and billboards.
Certainly when you see the big heavyweight companies like Netflix and Spotify make that move, you can imagine that other companies are considering the same thing. But you look at a Netflix and a Spotify, they're in a better position in the market themselves, so they could potentially do a TV commercial that says sign up here. Smaller companies may not have that ability.
Apple has said it doesn't give its own products an advantage, and that its 30% fee is in line with the rest of the industry. But if you're an app developer, your business largely depends on just two companies, Apple and Google. Roughly 95% of all mobile app spending in the US happens on the App Store and Google Play.
We have Congress, the Department of Justice, the European Union, the FTC, they're all investigating Apple and other technology giants too on antitrust grounds. Google and Amazon and Facebook, they're under the spotlight as well. The attention though with Apple by these government entities though has so far centered largely around the App Store. And the App Store has become essentially Apple's bread and butter.
In late September, Apple said it would exempt some apps from paying commissions on virtual events hosted during the pandemic. But many app makers say they want Apple to review its commission policies altogether. And Apple's legal battles aren't going away anytime soon. Depending on how things play out, the Fortnite case could have a lasting impact on how much revenue developers are able to keep and how apps accept payments altogether.
The biggest thing that I'm watching on the sidelines is Apple going to continue to take 30%? Because that is just a large number off the top, which means I have that much less to hire sales and marketing teams, hire other developers, and get my product out to other people, and it makes it that much harder as a small business to survive.
There are all sorts of possibilities as to what could happen, or things could stay the status quo. But given the importance of the App Store to Apple's bottom line, should the outcome be such changes, that could have a serious effect on Apple's finances.